Hello, everybody. I'm CJ Miller. I'm in my kitchen in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we're across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. We make a really great destination for a vacation spot. But if you want to go someplace else, but you happen to be passing through, we make a great layover spot. We have a lot of fun and adventure in this area of the country, and come check us out, please. Okay, so what's going on here? In this mixing bowl, I have cracked 5 large eggs, and I have uh, whisked them in my little bowl here with my machine. 12 is the setting. I don't do whatever. Yours probably have a different setting. It's a older machine, but anyway, yeah. So the egg white setting, whatever you would set it for egg whites, you know. And of course, I used a larger bowl because it expands. I got it to this thick pancakey batter. If you want it thicker, you can add, or actually you could start with the egg whites on this and then add your yolks to your meringue after you get a meringue. But there's no sugar. What I've added here, and I'm going to do it for a final mix here, is about a teaspoon of non-aluminum baking powder that is potato starch based. And so here we go. It's going to be loud. All right, so we've got that mixed in. I did that final mix for about 30, 40 seconds or whatever. But you see how this is kind of thick coming off of here? We kind of want it that, but we don't want it so much so that it's not pourable. And so if you didn't know the difference between a frittata and a quiche, is that a frittata is mostly prepared in a skillet. Like I'm going to pour this into a cast iron skillet and in just a moment, and then I'm going to pop it into the oven. But a frittata is cooked in the skillet on top of the stove and then finished off in the oven, which is great. And then you can fold that into an omelet, or you can leave it whole or whatever. But the heat from the oven gives it a good rise. Also, the baking powder that I put in is going to help it get a little bit of a rise. If you feel like you want to add a little bit more substance, you can. You can add maybe up to a good tablespoon of flour to this, and whip it up if you want to. Or you can actually take this quiche filling, and pour it into a crust. This is going to be a no crust. As a matter of fact, the only carb that's going to be involved in this is really going to be just that little teaspoon of... no, I don't think there's any carbs in that. Hold on, let me go check. Outstanding. No carbs in the eggs, no carb that's going to go in the filler. It's going to be a medium cheddar cheese. It's going to be some ham. And maybe I'll throw in a little green onion, just for a little, something. If there's anything in that green onion, well, I'll let you know about that in a second. Hold on. Well, so if there are any carbs in this dehydrated chive that I'm going to put in, it's really not enough that they bother to label anything. It's not a breakdown. It's basically just a dehydrated chive, so whatever it would be. Some onion, depending upon how much you put in, onions have a natural sweetness. I don't think they really add that much to the carb unless it's just a heavily, unless it's like the main feature. But as an accent, I don't think it would matter. If there's an incidental carb in this whole bowl here, 1 gram, if that. Okay, so I'm gonna do the chives I'm going to put in here, give this one quick whisk, and then I'm going to put it into the skillet, and that'll be done when I come back. So here I wanted to show you the thickness of this emulsion. So you can see this is pretty much through and through. But what we want to do is we want to get this into the oven right now, because as it sits at room temperature, it will lose viscosity, thickness, or whatever. It will lose air. It will lose texture. So we want to get this into the oven. Before I add the ham and cheese, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. 350 on a medium rack in the oven. I'm going to let it go for probably about 5-6. Let it get a little done, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to put the cheddar cheese that I'm going to chop right into this bowl, and the ham. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that your ham, as you're cutting it, you want to maybe cut that onto a towel or a paper towel or something like that, because you want drier fillings for your quiche. And the reason why I'm adding this is because the ham is going to be certainly heavier, you know. So the cheese would probably melt and be wonderful and everything, but that ham is going to just be too heavy to put right into a wet mixture. It'll go right to the bottom. We would make a nice presentation, but you know, it's not what I'm going for. I'm trying to get a good suspension or an emulsion type texture. So we'll see. So after about 10 minutes, you kind of have this really, you have a little bit of rise and a little bit of firmness and consistency. But if I move it around, there's a lot of liquid underneath here. So what was risen and full, you lose a little bit as soon as you take it out. Because it's not done. That's one of the ways you can tell. Plus, there's no actual color to it. So what I've got over here in the mixing bowl is I've got the ham, the cheese, and then I've got a dried Italian blend in a grinder. I love this stuff. I get it all the time. You can use your favorite stuff. You can do anything with this at this point. Like if you have small onions, you can do anything. Little tomatoes, what you want to do. If you're going to do anything like that, you want to make them dry. So if it's a canned tomato, you really want to squeeze the juice out of it with your hand in another bowl, and then put just the firm parts. Or if it's a fresh tomato, you want to dice it small, and then you want to roll it around on a towel or napkin or something first. You want as little liquid as possible. Whatever you want to do here. Spinach, this is great. It's a really good quiche. I'm going to add it, and then we're going to finish cooking. It's about another 20 or so minutes away from being done. You know, I also realized I had just a touch of Asiago cheese, which is it's a slightly softer version of a Parmesan. It's very akin to a Parmesan. It's got a firmness to it. That's the white cheeses that's on top of here. And, but the flavor is very Parmesan-y. It's very powerful and very potent. So you see some of the liquid egg poking up through the toppings. And that is because I have taken my spatula and I have pushed them into the crust to give rise to some of that. I don't think this is going to take another 20 minutes like the recipe. I thought, I think because it was so well aerated, I think the heat got in there really, really well. I think maybe 10 minutes tops. We'll see. So after basically it's toppings, but it's toppings that I kind of smashed into to get some of the inside out of this crust and vice versa. But yeah, so after 5 minutes, we have this, and no, it is not completely done yet. But I think I was okay on my assessment of about 10 more minutes. So I'm going to put this in for about 5 more minutes. I probably could let this sit here and take a chance that it's going to finish cooking on its own, but I'm seeing a little bit of undoneness on the top that I probably would not be happy with. but it's getting a good rise, a good bubbly texture. So I like that. We're gonna go back in the oven for about 5 minutes. 5 more minutes, Ma, I promise. See how much rise we're getting out of this. Now let me see if I can get this out of the pan. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it sit here and cool. Uh, that's gonna be a big secret on a quiche like this. So here we are with the 5 egg quiche, and I have cut. It probably will serve. At this point, you can serve probably about 4 out of it on a small. This would be like a really good like little thing to have, like maybe with a little green salad or something on the side. I'm just doing something light before bed, and then I'll have some for breakfast too. And so what I have for my to put on the plate is this is a cream cheese spread with a onion and oh, I forgot. Let me check it out. But no wonder. It was a cream cheese spread that is folded in is onion and chive. So the same type of things that there's a chive in here also. So that's great. It kind of plays up on that onion flavor. So, and just, yeah, whatever. So here, we're going to taste it. When you cut into this, you do lose a lot of volume, but it's still light and airy. You will lose height. You know, there's not that much to be done about it, except maybe you can add more eggs and you know, just make it taller anyway in the first place. It's very good. It has it does have a very it's different. It's different flavor. I'm talking about the egg itself. It's different because of the way that it cooks. It kind of makes its own little crust. Possibly adding a crust would help it retain its height because the egg would rise and bond to the crust and would create a bond all the way through across. That's one advantage to a crust. But for me, it's like, nope. So it has, you know, it's very similar to, like I said, a frittata, which is an egg that's done on stovetop and then just finished. But here's the bottom of it, that little crust texture of the egg itself. So it's great. You can add anything to this, so long as what you add, you kind of pat and make as dry as you possibly can. I know someone will go out like for breakfast or brunch or late night brunch or something. It's not a criticism of his habits, but I don't like watching what happens because he'll order this wonderful omelet, no matter what it is, no matter where we are, Waffle House or a you know, a place where we're getting like a, you know, see, there's a almost a light cakiness, a savory egginess to this that is not. See this texture? This is what we want ideally from these from this type of thing, and that's great. The different bits that we've added into the quiche here and there, bits of ham, bits of cheese, or whatever, will affect what's surrounding it. But the primary texture we want is this. We want this to be almost cake-like, and it's just an egg, you know, with just maybe a teaspoon of baking powder. But that's just something I threw in. It's not even necessary. It wasn't even part of the recipe. Very good. But yeah, no matter what artisan steps they take to prepare this egg dish, he will grab the ketchup bottle and just douse it, and it's like, oh my god. Even like even an omelet at a hash house or in an army chow line, a folded over omelet. Someone has taken the time to chop that up, select and cook everything to the side, and then put it into an omelet and fold it and make it wonderful. And the first thing you do is cover it, this beautifully folded, egg dish. Not that I haven't chopped mine up or whatever, but yeah, like, and cover it with ketchup, and then chop it up so that just, and it's like, why didn't you just order scrambled eggs? I'm more of I'm kind of my condiment on the side kind of thing, because I like some flavor with the condiment, some without. I love the layers of flavor that comes with it. I have a little bit more control over how much condiment I would use, but no, I don't like ketchup anyway. Not even on sandwiches or whatever. There's some of the chives in here, some of the ham, but to each his own. But it's not, you're not at home having just folded over scrambled eggs to throw ketchup on, Oh, it's the condiments we have to watch. There's a lot of hidden sugar in some of those condiments. Let's see what's in ketchup. I don't think I have any. Let me see. I'm terrible. I don't actually, like I said, I don't use ketchup. But what we get when there's like, if I have a burger to go or something like that, they throw these in. Okay, so high fructose corn syrup, that's sugar. Corn syrup is sugar. There's sugar in the spice. Where it says spice, there's sugar in there. This is from, Popeyes. Yeah. If it's Popeyes, there's going to be sugar in it. You want to watch, but particularly ketchup. There's a lot of sugar in ketchup to balance out the acidity. If it's something that's acidic in a condiment, and like a ketchup, there's hidden sugars in there. So in sugars, sugar means carb. It means it'll transfer into carb, and that means that you're not doing. You're adding carbs, so this might still be within your daily budget, depending upon what that is. Just be aware that condiments do count when it comes to carbs. There might be 1/5 of one carb that was on this plate because I used something I felt like it didn't say the chives if there were carbs or not in the dried chives. So I granted like an incidental, like 1 gram for the small amount. Oh, what's on the plate, by the way? Dill. There's no carb in the green dill. And there's none in the cream cheese. On that label at all. And it's got chives in it, so I don't know. But I granted at least 1 gram for incidental carb, dividing that up into about 5. It's certainly not something. I mean, like 1/5 of a gram of a carb is not something I'm going to be concerned about at all. Okay, I'm going to finish my meal. I love you guys, really, truly, and something different here. Love and light, peace, good night.